Welcome to Tattoo Shop Talk, weekly-ish web show where we talk about tattoo-related stuff. And if it's your kind of thing, then consider pressing that subscribe button, which is on the side of the screen where the big Carlos is sitting. And today we have this wonderful guest from somewhere else, and we will talk about what it's like to open tattoo shop. What can you run into? Intro. Mr. Zucato, he have had tattoo shop and he opened one recently again, and I just opened tattoo shop, so it's just like barely born, you know, it's still pink kind of thing. So we would like to talk about things that might seem different from what you imagine, right?
Yes.
So what do you think? What's the first thing what you imagine? Like, oh, I'm gonna open my tattoo shop, and you had a couple of them. So what's the first thing for people to maybe keep in mind who's planning to do that?
Yeah, man. The most problem when you go to open your shop, you think it's gonna be, you know, like a nice club. You're gonna enjoy. You just go to join your friends on the shop, and he's gonna having fun there. But when you open for real, you know, it's a bit different thing. You know, you have a lot of things to do and responsibilities and that kind of stuff.
And also, it's not like friends have time all the time to come by and be like, hey.
Yeah, man, because, you know, you have that kind of dream because you want to be your second home. And sometimes it's a bit different. It's your job. You need to make your money there, and it's a bit different.
It's been now maybe 2 months since I opened the shop, and it's been 2 or 3 days when I had a couple hours where I can be like, okay, I have things to do, but I can do them later, so I will just do nothing. But it's been like some paperwork related stuff, some money related stuff, some shop related stuff. There's always something on the back of your head that it's like, it's not you're like, oh, I made a tattoo and I'm chilling.
Yeah, but you know, when you open your own, you have a lot of things to do. You know, you just need to do advertisement. It's not when you like for someone else. You just go there, do your stuff, and go home. Normally, I work more at home to push the shop and do advertisement and speak with customers on the WhatsApp, Facebook, Instagram.
Yeah.
You know, yeah.
Well, I've been doing that stuff, so I'm used to all that thing, and also looking into those advertisements. But now I see, even from the experience, that in some places one work. Like, you know, some people are like, no, you should be all Facebook advertisement, and some people say you should be all Google. Some things work for one thing, and some things you just throw in money and it just...
But by the way, you need to try. You need to do everything, you know, man. If you don't work in the Facebook, you need to do on the Instagram, because, you know, now you have bills to pay. That
as well.
It's not just, you know, I don't know if you are the owner of your house, or you need to pay the bills or rent for your house. But, you know, when you have your own shop, this is a double. You know, it's shop and house. And this make you push.
I consider myself as a flexible person, but I think for some people, situations like that will make them become more flexible. You know, when people are like, I'm only this, I'm only that. When they have double bills to pay, they could be like, it's okay. I can do this as well.
Yeah. Yeah, because, you know, I'm a traditional tattooer, but when you have bills to pay, you need to do... You know, there comes walk-ins and stuff. You need to do that.
You can throw a sprinkle of watercolor on the thing.
All the magic is happening.
That's the flexibility side, but from the actual thing, when you like imagine your shop and then you get the place and you start to build it, what kicks in there?
Yeah, man, I did this in last October, and man, it's in the very start, it's a kind of nightmare, because, you know, normally you have a plan and you think, oh, I got to spend that much of money.
Of course.
And normally it's almost the double, you know, because, you know, if you live the tattoo environment, you want something nice to you and for your customers. And I did my best. And when I did my best, I spent so much money there.
Also, from the space itself, when I found the place, I was like, this could be a cool tattoo shop. And I went in there and I looked at it and it was empty, and I was like, I'll put this there, I'll put that there, and this there. But when you start to put things, you realize that the place somehow gets smaller, smaller, smaller. In my situation, it's like, this is my first shop, like my own personal shop, so I go with what I can, not what I want. I do what I can in the space. But somehow in my memory, when I went in a place, it seemed just like this crazy spacious place, and I was like, a bed will be for tattooing on this side and the table for drawing on this side. And then I realized that those two things don't fit even in the place. So that was one thing. But one thing I learned from all the places I worked, that don't fix things to the ground. You have to be flexible in the space. Like, don't make a counter, an angle, don't drill things to the wall. Like, I can still move around all reception, and I can make tattoo space the double, and I can make piercing place and swap it. Because I've been in those situations where the owner found a place that like, yeah, let's make this, that. And when you start to do it, and then 2 months in the process, they're like, oh, it would be nice if the entrance would be, if not here, but 10 centimeters here, you know. But,
you are a smart guy, because normally tattooers just go and screw everything on the wall and that's it. I did myself, and
in 10 years, this is first time when I was like, I even wanted to the reception bed. I was like, okay, I put this board thing, and I put a board in the front, drill it to the wall, make it as a countertop, make it nice. And then I was like, why can't I just paint the thing and make it nice? And if I need, I can move the whole thing.
And actually it's nice.
Yeah, but when I got the place and when I put the furniture there, my plan was to build around it. And then just one day I was sitting and I was, why don't I just paint it? And I had these moments hundreds of times.
It was tricky.
It's crazy. How did you plan your space? How do you like...
Man, for me it was a bit funny, because I went in a place and I look in the space, and but I came to Europe like after I see the place, and I stay like 3 months in Europe thinking about that place and praying to don't be rented. When I come back, I was there and the place is to rent already. I have all in my mind, because it's 3 months planning the shop. When I pick the keys, I just is straight what my mind told me.
That's cool. Yeah, my mind was planning. I had my imaginary shop and I sort of found a place, but then I also needed imaginary budget. But I sort of was planning for one thing, and then things didn't go at my job as expected. And then I was like, now I need to do something. And while all that thing happening was, I found this place, but I was like, I'm not sure, like, this could be just for this YouTube thing, because it was like affordable. And then the things went down the road the way I was like, oh, this might be also a tattoo shop. And I had to rethink, and it went that period was shorter. So instead of that place that I imagined, what expectations I set to the place, this was kind of like, okay, now I have this, I have to go in. And then all that what I remember, and when I start to put furniture, it just started to shrink, and it's like, oh, you could have 1 or 2 stations there. Then it's like, it's barely 1, and then you need to put something else there, and it was crazy. But yeah, my trick was that I got it, and I was like, let's start this YouTube corner and see what else it can be. And then I was like, I need a shop. Then I was like, let's shrink this corner and work that way. Money wise, you are absolutely correct that you need way more, and that's what everyone's saying. Everyone says, like, if you imagine one number, you can easily double it. When I look at expenses, I'm like, I had no idea I had the money. I don't know where I got it from, but all my savings, all the money I could get, and like, it just somehow, when you need to, it focuses in that thing.
Because always your imagine is bigger than your budget.
Yeah.
Always.
But I was lucky, because I was I collect stuff. So I've been like...
I'm this kind of person also.
Yeah, this chair was in my house for like 2 years. I just got it. It's like, it's a nice chair, and if one day I will have a shop, I will have the chair. Also the display, I bought it for one tattoo convention because if I'm representing piercings, I want it to look nice, not just any display.
Okay.
So I had a lot of those things, and I also like to go to flea markets, so that cupboard with skulls, and I had the sort of bed thing for tattooing because I saw one cheap deal. And
like we did last year, we went to the flea market, and I bring a lot of stuff to Brazil. You know, I put in the luggage, and that's it. My luggage was too heavy. I need to pay a lot of money in the airport.
But that's the flea market. Yeah, I even got the autoclave. I had it for so long that when I first set it up and test run it didn't work. I was like, oh, what's going on? So I had to find a guy who can fix it, but now at least it's fixed and tested and it's running and it's checked and it's all good. Even the guy said, it's probably not working because it's been staying for that long. Because there was just a thing that was just physically stuck to the place because nobody used it. What else? When you open the shop, what's the thing?
Man, you know, I'm tattooing for like 11 years professional in the same city, and I have some customers, but sometimes it's not enough. And in my shop I have 4 stations, and I have a space for another tattooers and guests. And now I have like 2 guys work with me, but always have some guests and stuff. This is my second, how I can say, walk-in shop, because I had one private shop before.
Yeah.
You know.
A street shop. Maybe?
Yeah. Kind of. This is expensive than the privates. You know, you need to pay everything. You need to be everything right on the shop because you know you have the insurance and stuff like that. I'm tattooing for like 11 years, but now with this shop I can see it's much difficult, but every time you're turning more professional, and every time you need more good things in the shop to be professional. And in that point I realize it's more harder nowadays than in the past, because in the past you know when you don't know things you don't care about things, you know.
Yeah, and you don't know what you don't know.
Yeah.
Also I think like the expectations when you're like this many people messaging you on Facebook or Instagram and you're like, oh yeah I'll be fine, and then when you open it's like they want your tattoos but they don't want them now,
or they don't want to pay.
Or yeah, like something. So from that your planned budget, that will be your income, not always the actual income, because that when you work and you're like, oh okay, I have this guy, but then if you like, oh okay, I have a month or 2 months or 3 months off, then this guy wants the tattoo now, you tell him I'll be in 3 months, this guy will be in 3 months, but actually that guy can't be in 3 months. So you're like, you open and you're like, hey,
yeah, normally
what happened?
Normally the best thing to do is save some money. Yeah. For the the first 6 months, you need to be calm, because if you be stressed you can work well, and you need to save some money to be okay. If the guys don't come in now, they come in 1 month or in 2 months.
Yeah.
But I have money enough to pay the bills and be good.
For me it was somehow that like the previous place didn't pay out everything that I earned, so I got that money later on from some funds and whatnot, but it was kind of like I was starting to run out of money, and I kind of already gave up on the money that the previous place owed me, so it wasn't in my mind, but it came to me, and I was like, oh okay, I made this month, and I was like, oh okay, this starts to roll, and the place is there, so it's kind of okay. So that was pretty cool, but that was like probably my own mindset, that responsibility is funky. And also you're like, I don't mind, like I never minded to work a bit more if it makes sense, but now it makes a lot more sense. And you're like, somebody's like, it's okay if we come in 15 minutes before you close, and you're like, no
why
problem.
Not?
Welcome.
Yeah. That's the point, you need to work, you need to pay the bills, and the good thing about that, you are in your place.
Yeah, like
it's your tempo,
I ran into these situations with opening a tattoo shop. For me is like that I keep forgetting stuff, and like very simple stuff, because like
what?
Like I've been focusing on inside of shop, so I'm painting the walls and all that, and like decorating them. I had a friend coming over, he almost walked past, he said he just like kind of like oh, what's there? And he looked and he saw me and he's like, oh, this is the place. It's hard to see you from outside. And I was like, yes, you are absolutely correct. And I know about it. And I know that that thing is important. He said like, yeah, because the building is on the side. So when you go down the road, you look there.
Okay.
You know?
Yeah.
So the next thing I did, ran to the shop and bought a board, cut it in pieces, just write like tattoo, piercing and all that, and put it on the street. And the next time he came to visit me, I was like, was it easier? He said like, I was kind of thinking about the stuff. It was like, oh yeah, I have to really find a place. But then I walked in the street and I saw a sign, tattoos, and he's like, oh, I know it's there. Things like that. And then my girlfriend's friend have a business and she's like, oh yeah, maybe your boyfriend can give me a card and I can put it in my shop so people know where to go. I was like, yeah, out of all things like Webpage, Facebook, Google and all that, I forgot a physical card. So I have to figure that thing out then and now, so I have an actual thing to give to people so they can leave in places. It comes on the days. It even goes to the place, things like rubbish bins. There should be bin at that station, that station, that station. It's like, oh, I forgot one in the front or one in the toilet. So it's like, oh, okay, I'm going to the shop now.
Yeah. Nowadays, I think the biggest street to be is the Instagram and Facebook, because and
Google
too. But in the past, the people don't have internet, of course. They just walk around and here's a tattoo shop, let's go in. But nowadays you go to photo sleep and you catch your phone and just roll your Instagram and a lot to you're gonna sleep. If you can, just push your stuff on the Instagram and Facebook, Google, because of course the Google, if you're looking for something, you go to the Google and can put there. But if you just roll in your Facebook, your Instagram, and have some sponsored there, what's that fucking shit? It's a tattoo shop.
Yeah.
It's a new tattoo shop in the city. I go to drop there to see what happened because I like tattoos, I like piercings, and it's look like a nice place. The people, of course, go to be there.
Actually, for me, this place worked other way around, because from all the places I worked for last 5-6 years ago in Spain, it was Google plus walking kind of thing, but there was not many options because it's like super small cities, so you're kind of playing the game if they walk in my or in that shop, because they are really like, mine is here and next one is on another street. It's pretty much the same here. The shops I worked lately, they've been kind of destination shops. People have to find them, because one was like on a street out, kind of going from the city. One shop is kind of up in the sky, so you have to know that it's there, you have to find the address. And with this place, it's actually on a relatively busy street, and I had so many times that people were like, oh, I was walking past, I saw a shop, I wanted a piercing, or I was thinking about tattoo, I thought I will come in. And now I have this actual walk-in experience again, where people were just actually walking by and they walked in. They didn't find me on Google, they didn't find me on Instagram, they were just walking and they had this idea or thought, and they're like, oh, a shop. So I'm very kind of blessed about that. I'm like, oh, this is back to the fun stuff, Another thing from the shop, like, let's get back to the shop thing. Is like the little things that makes difference. In my personal case, like I bought a bed for tattooing just so it's smaller. Spent way more money on it. I was like, okay, let's see how this works. And it works perfect except one thing, when you need to spin it around. And it feels so annoying because it's not like, oh, you can lie this way or that way. For this one, head is only this way and legs are that way. And it feels super annoying just to turn better. That's annoying. Then the stencil machine. In a previous place, we had different tattoo stencil machines, and that was the fax type, the lamp type, and all that. And then I kind of got used to that thing with lamps. And then when I started the shop, I had no stencil machine. Then it was going back to that hand drawing thing. That felt at least as a good practice, It's like, oh yeah, I've been rusty for so long, it's good to do the stencil because I have the movements. And then I switched from the lamp thing to the brother printer thing. I heard so many good people saying like this is like best for this and best for that, but there's those little things where you have to use computer, you have to flip the image, you have to make it not too dark, because in previous the darker is better, on this one the darker is not better, and you have to find all those things. And when you mess up the fifth stencil sheet and you're like, I could just draw it, stencil it, hand stencil it. It's all those little changes that in a day builds up in your head and you're like, oh my god, this is no fun.
Yeah, but stencil machines is a kind of thing for the first word. In the third word, we don't have that. In Brazil, if you have like 50 shops in all the country with stencil machines, it's much. I have, because I come here for the first time and I saw that, and man, it's a kind of new
Magic.
age for me.
Aliens.
Well, man, I thought how I can live today without that shit. I didn't realize it's perfect to work. And the people in Brazil don't have that.
It's good stencil machine or no stencil machine, because no stencil machine I can justify. It's the bigger, like it's this, I have extra practice, all that. Good stencil machine, it's a good stencil machine, but when you are in that process to figure one stencil machine out and you're like, it's going, this is not, this is good, this is bad, this, and then it's like, why? It's like, good internet or no internet.
Yeah. That's the point. But for me, I work with some stencil machines. Just one work properly. It's one I think is from Germany or something like that. And that's work. But I try other ones. It's fucking nightmare. It doesn't work at all.
Some of them are like, you have to have like a couple of years education in the stenciling to know how it works.
You need to have the skills.
The skills, bro. Yeah, it's all those little things. Another thing is obviously like when it's your own thing, you love your customers even more. But I never had like on all these forums where people are like complaining. It's like, I do this custom shit and people only want this. And I'm like, yeah, but sometimes people don't want custom art and all that, and it's like, you're still a tattooer, like you're not a tattoo artist and all that. If they come in and they're like, you're the tattoo artist, I came for your art, fine, like, be an artist. But like, yeah, when people come in for the like, I want a tattoo, and then there's that guy who's like, I'm gonna show you what's art, it's good if it's necessary.
But I think you need to think in the way is your job. If actually you works in a shop, they sell t-shirts, you don't go just to sell the t-shirts you like it. You need to sell everything, every kind of t-shirts, even if you don't like it. It's the same when you work like a tattoo artist, because you of course you're selling your art, but some people drop to the shop just to get something special.
Yeah,
for him,
Yeah, I think it's your responsibility to explain what's the options, but if they still want that, it's okay. Like, if you are at that level when people go specifically for your custom art, okay, then you're like, and if you're fine with being like, okay, I do only this, and the person is like, oh, it's not for me actually, and you're like, okay, then sorry, and then you have no reason to be upset about it. But yeah, lately I ran into a lot of this, like, this is my style, this is what I do.
We have a joke we always say is like, I'm not a tattoo artist, I'm a tattooer.
Yeah,
it's two different things.
I see it, I like the tattooer thing, I see it as a craftsman, I learned this and I know how to do this thing. Because imagine you're like, I need to install a toilet in my house. There comes I'm the plumber artist, and he's like, you will shit in the wall and the shower will spray from the side, and the sink will come up to the sky. And you're like, no, I just want to take a shit. You don't respect my art.
Sometimes it's just one shit.
Sometimes Rihanna's tattoo is Rihanna's tattoo.
Yeah, and like I tell you, like you said, if you don't are the famous tattooer or something like that, you need to do everything. I'm always travel for like 3 months and in the year, And always I do every kind of tattoos, you know, because like I said, I'm a tattooer. I'm not a tattoo artist. Of course, I'm love to do my job, you know, my kind of tattoos. But you know, I need to make money.
Yeah, but it's a different approach. It's like, okay, if you are at that level, if you can afford to do it and people go for you for that, you're welcome. That's amazing.
And you are lucky because there's not much artists doing this in the world.
Yeah, it's like, you know, every dude who picks up a guitar is not the next Kurt Cobain, you know?
Of course not.
So it's the same kind of thing. So what's the conclusions? I ran into those things where people are like, I want to open tattoo shop because I want to do what I want to do. And I've seen both. I've seen people where they're at the point where they're like, they really do what they want to do, and they'll say, this is me. Or there's people that are like, who's like, I opened the shop because I wanted to do nothing, and it's actually a lot of work. Yeah, so what would be the things that, like, opening tattoo shop, just the basics?
Yeah, I can say some things for you. You need to save some money the very first month. You need to be polite with your customer.
Always.
Always. You need to have a safe environment. You know, everything's good. The inks is nice. You know, to make a nice job. You need to work hard because it's not easy.
Yeah.
It's not easy.
Actually, in Denmark, now from this year, there's actually laws about tattooing, because before that, like, tattoo shop was the same level as home tattooing, and they're focusing very on like registering inks and all that stuff from the point of providing safe environment. That's pretty cool. Like some things seems a bit too harsh on one thing, and some things are like maybe too chill on other. At least there's rules for somebody who's opening tattoo shop. The information is out there. You can't be like, oh, I didn't know that. It's just like, you Google it and it's out there. And also for customers, they can look it up and they're like, oh, okay, this place is registered and there's a list of things, and they can come in and they be like, oh, do you have this or that on that? And that's pretty cool. But I like the polite thing.
Yeah. Because, you know,
because I heard from customers so many times that it's like, oh yeah, tattoo is amazing, but experience is shit.
Doesn't matter how stupid is the idea. Maybe the idea from the life. The people thinking about this for like 3 months, and when they arrive in the shop, you just say it's a stupid idea. You can ruin the dream of the people.
I mean, you can explain why, but if you just say it's shit, it's like you're crushing a person's dreams.
You have another ways to tell that. You don't need to be rude, you know.
Yeah, you don't need to be rude is even more important than like, yeah.
You can say, oh, we can do that, but that way I think is better for your body, for your idea, it's gonna work more, or something like that. You know?
Also, like, if you leave them up to you.
If you want exactly that, we can do, but always have the but.
There's also another option. So that was our experiences, and what is yours? If you're having your own shop or you're running your own shop, what's the main things that you like ran into where it's like, oh, this didn't go as I expected, or there's these things that didn't stack up to my imagination? Leave that in the comments. Also press subscribe, likes and all that stuff. Share the video if you
write us, let us know what your experience.
And also check links in the description for this gentleman's shop. Check links to my shop. And as always, see you in the next video. Subscribe, like, blah 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 blah.
Thank you. That's it? I think so.
Say in Brazilian.
Obrigado. Vejo vocês em breve.
That thing.
Cool.